Guys, I saw a meme. When you said praying mantis, it made me think of it. And it was just
Episode
a
of
praying.
Community?
No, it was a
No.
praying. There was a meme. The praying mantis had no head, and it was dead. And the meme just said, "Wow, looks like somebody got laid last night." Dude, I'm telling you, a podcast where I just describe memes would work. I'm telling you.
It's the Remedial Field Class Podcast. Travis and George and Dan. Through the Remedial Field Class Podcast. Take your seat. It's time to begin.
Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
Hey, George. Need a favor, as always.
What's that?
But a very specific favor. I can't seem to find my 1958 Plymouth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it is in your garage right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get in the car for your safety.
Okay.
But could you peep around and see if there's any more bodies in my Plymouth?
Sure.
Because
They're all in the trunk.
What are friends for?
people just keep dying in Christine, and I don't get it.
Nor do I.
You
But
don't
hey,
get it.
If Christine is bad, Catherine's got to be way worse, right?
Yeah. Well,
She
Catherine,
will punch you right in the dick
Holy crap.
if you let her.
She's a dick puncher.
Dude.
That's a good title. of a
But
movie.
that's enough about Catherine. Let's talk about Christine. Guys, we watched Christine.
We did have some junk grabbing in this movie.
There
There was
is-
some junk.
There's
Yeah.
a very
really
specific
uncomfortable.
junk grab.
That is not
It's like a
the 5-on-3 move. Just doesn't.
no. I wouldn't have went for the handful of junk myself.
No.
It
I
was
wasn't
like
really grabbing with jeans that tight.
An
really.
extended
Yeah,
amount
and
of
also, like,
time.
What's he doing? Just like squeezing his penis? Like what?
Well, maybe he
There's
was
that-
excited for being in a scene with Wish.com Kevin Bacon.
He was Wish.com Kevin Bacon. In fact, I thought I had that thought. I was like, is this like a really young Kevin Bacon or just like a Kevin Bacon-y
Ironically,
guy?
Kevin Bacon was cast for that part. and
I'm sure he was.
And then he left to go make Flatliner. No, not Flatliners. What's the one? The dancing one.
For some reason, I thought you were
Oh,
going to say
Footloose.
Flapjacks.
The Footloose. He left.
He left to go make flapjacks.
Flapjacks. No,
What?
Footloose. This is almost the same movie.
Yeah, sure.
So, guys, we watched John Carpenter's adaptation of Stephen King's Christine from 1983. George, we just recently watched a delightful Stephen King adaptation by Brian De Palma. Now you get to see the same kind of idea from a John Carpenter. How are you feeling tonight, man?
Pretty good.
Are you enjoying the John Carpenter perspective on the works of Mr. Stephen King?
No.
Mm.
No.
Did you like it
Um,
better when it was Halloween Ends?
Yes.
I did too.
did.
Ouch.
I did.
Du Brute.
No, seriously, like I was I was kind of excited because when I first turned on the movie, I saw John Carpenter's name,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was probably the only name that I recognized from the credits. And I was like, okay, cool, it's a Carpenter movie. This should be good, right? Because like Halloween's like the greatest.
This is Halloween with a car.
It's great, right? And then like, I watched the movie and I was like, damn. And this is like 10 years after Halloween, right?
About 5 years.
5.
Okay,
Yeah.
5 years after. What was it? 78, 83.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right, so 5 years later, and I'm like, damn, he like somehow got worse. That's how I felt. I was like, maybe like John Carpenter's never done anything really good except for Halloween.
Well, this is a year after The Thing.
Did John Carpenter do the thing?
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay, well then he has. And I'm trying to think of all the other Carpenter movies. And I'm like, he did The Fog, right?
The Fog.
He did The Fog.
Fog was good, but like suffered from like some things. But I mean, that was okay. And I don't know. I just kind of feel like I was like, it's just okay. I
Hmm.
don't know, man. Like, it's just Halloween is so good.
Yeah.
And just none of the other movies that he made had, like, the magic that Halloween had.
Do you know the moment I knew George would dislike this movie, guys?
Hmm.
It's the
There's
first
so
time.
much to not like about it.
The first. The first time the radio comes on and starts playing 50s rock, it
Right.
puts me into a Stand By Me nostalgia feeling
Mm.
a little bit, and I'm like, uh-oh.
No, that's not why.
George didn't like Stand By Me.
See, I thought that was a good.
I liked all the music.
At what point do I have to defend this movie?
Well,
Am I defending it to Dan as well? Dan does not like this movie.
You're not going to convince me to like it any more than I do. What I would say, Travis, just to put myself into a box, is it is fine.
Okay.
I like
That's
watching it
understandable.
to a point, and then it's fine, and then it's over.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't
Fine.
hate it. It's fine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like this movie.
I like the part where the
What's your
car's on
favorite
fire
part?
and the dude gets run over. That part's cool.
There was some cool.
I think the kills are good.
the
When he wipes out all the bullies, I think each one of those kills are sweet.
the first bully was subpar,
Okay.
where he like slow motion crushes him when like
He could have climbed over the car.
he could have just like jumped up on the hood of the car and not been
But maybe
crushed.
she would have opened the hood. And, I think the movie would have been better for you if they followed the book closer.
Okay.
Because the book is not about the car being possessed.
Mm-hmm.
It's more haunted. The old man that sells him the car in the movie
Mm-hmm.
is based on he talks about his brother.
Yeah.
In the book, his brother is like a haunting entity and kind of does to Arnie what happens in this movie, but you actually see it's almost like a American Werewolf where him and Jack have their meetings and they
Oh.
talk, and he's more and more decayed as
Yeah.
you go along. I think that aspect would have been better for you.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have been as. I mean, the premise is outlandish. Outlandish. Did I say outlandish?
You did.
You said-
Atlantis.
I did. Atlantish.
It definitely wasn't.
It's outlandish, but I think as a ghost story, it's kind of like The Shining. It's the opposite of The Shining. I like the fact that the movie The Shining is not a ghost story and it's more psychological.
Mm-hmm.
I think with this, they went more with the demon car and not the haunting. Like a lot of
Yeah.
Arnie's behavior is based on the character that's haunting the car. Like when he calls everybody shitters and like all his attitude, everything that it's basically him being taken by the ghost and
Yeah.
taking on his personality, which is a little bit more believable than a demon car.
Yeah, and
I
in
don't-
this one, he really just comes across as becoming more of an a-hole. Like,
Yeah.
there is
No,
no.
that's-
It doesn't seem like the car is causing it. It's just he's also becoming an a-hole during all this.
Well, I think the way I saw it was kind of explained when Spider-Man did it, when the symbiote takes over him, the black suit.
the dancing. Oh, the dancing.
The dancing. It changes his whoever the symbiote takes over, it changes their personality. If they're a good person, then it changes them. It just basically alters their personality. With this, I think that's what they tried to do. Were they successful? I don't know. I felt it. Maybe it's the nostalgia for me growing up on this movie, not seeing it at 35. I feel I grew into this movie. It was my first Carpenter. It was before Halloween. I saw this before I saw Halloween.
What was the movie with like it's like a little like punch buggy kind of car.
Oh, Herbie.
Yeah.
It's like that. But
Yeah, it's
evil.
like evil Herbie.
Yes.
It's exactly evil
Yes.
Herbie.
I loved Herbie as a kid.
So did I.
But what's
Maybe
funny?
that's why I don't.
Did you ever see The Mask? Jim Carrey's The Mask.
I know of The Mask.
they do a lot of this movie in The Mask.
Okay.
Whenever he becomes the Mask, like when he goes and basically puts mufflers up the mechanics' asses and stuff, like all that stuff when he's the Mask at night,
Mm-hmm.
he's basically Christine. He's Arnie. He's Christine, but it's just funny. Or, whether you see it as funny or not. But it's a comedic version of Christine. So I remember watching that movie in the theater. I'm like, oh my God, they just took Christine and made it a comedy.
Yeah.
You mentioned the brother of the guy who killed himself in Christine, who I guess in the book was haunting Christine, but in this movie he was just a dead guy.
Yes.
That brother, did you recognize that actor at all, George? He's one we've seen.
He played the You're Doomed guy in Friday the 13th. Okay. He played he played a drunk preacher. No.
And he was not the hobo in the train in Pee-wee's.
No, damn it. That was my next guess. That was my next guess. No.
He was not Blue in Old School. No, he's a different guy.
Where do I know him from?
He is Marley, the scary neighbor with a snow shovel from Home Alone.
Oh. Yeah.
He's the You're Doomed guy from Home Alone.
Yeah, he's the You're Doomed. Yeah.
We gotta get you home.
Gotta get you home. Speaking of that, last week when I brought up Mrs. Poole and we talked about the when we watched Christine and Rooney's secretary, she was just in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. She's the
yes, she was.
She's the airline person where he says, "I just want my fucking
car rental
to my fucking car." Yeah,
yep. The car rental lady.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my God,
do you have your contract?
Yeah. Then you're fucked. Yeah, that's her. Anyway, so yeah, the old man. I couldn't not watch it without thinking of McAllister.
All right, so there's two things about this movie that I liked.
Ooh,
the scene. Actually, let's go chronological order. All of the scenes where the car kind of repairs itself,
yes,
were very well done.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they did it. I would imagine this is what's cool about like practical effects. You gotta like figure out how they did it. I would think that you would like make a little dent in the car, and then like make the dent bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then play
Stop
it in
motion?
reverse.
That's what they did, but they did it with hydraulics. They basically crushed the car and then played it backwards.
Yeah. Okay, so that's cool.
So they went through probably like 50 cars in this movie.
That looked really cool.
Yeah.
And it was done really well. The other effect that I really liked was after the explosion at the gas station, just the car completely engulfed in flames.
Yeah. That part's awesome.
Driving down the street was
and the score, like with that
amazing.
That visual, I liked the music, the score.
I liked the score and the music.
I liked the oldies music, and I grew up on that kind of music. So watching this movie, like my dad's group used to sing some of those songs. So I forgot a lot of those songs were in this movie, but I think it's the first time that Carpenter actually used real music in his movie. Am I wrong about that, Dan? Like you
mean like licensed music from other? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like equal opportunity here.
It
was
real music, like
it was his score on the the scary parts, or the quote unquote scary parts.
Real music, like the theme to Halloween wasn't real.
Unscored, like licensed music.
I got you.
Yeah, I thought it was a good combination of the two, because every song, oldies wise, it was like a perfect pick.
But I wonder, does that come straight out of the book? Because that's where I got that Stand By Me feel, where it's like Stephen King in his nostalgia for the 50s again.
Every chapter in the book is named, I think, one of the songs.
See? So
yeah,
he had a selection to pick from. The score of the movie is oddly like Halloween 3-ish. Like same era, so it makes sense. But it's just funny because you can hear certain beats and you're like, oh, that's from this movie. Oh, that's from this one.
Yeah, it was a little bit of the Thing as well.
Yeah. And did Alan Howarth do some of the score on this too, or is that just Carpenter borrowing?
I don't know.
From his buddy, because he gets some of the credit on the Thing score.
Okay. that thump thump.
Yeah.
Thump, thump.
Oh yeah, here he is, Alan Howard. Yep. So John Carpenter
I thought I saw his name too.
got the gang back together from the thing
Well,
and did more.
There
of
was
it.
no shower scene for you to not see the names. So
That's true.
Yeah, De Palma definitely won the credit battle head to head between these two movies.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because the credits on this one, I was just like, oh my god, that engine is so loud. I can't concentrate on anything.
Couldn't keep your ears off of those pistons, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I told you, Dan, last year when we were in Haddonfield trick or treating, there was a guy who had a scene in his driveway where you walked up to his driveway and the one of the songs from this movie comes on and you hear like the engine roar and then this garage door opens and there's a Fury in his freaking garage with the lights on.
That's really cool.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has a full Fury or if it's just the grill, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah. No,
And then he puts his arm around your neck and grabs your crotch.
Dude, that guy was like 45 years old. The guy with the knife.
Oh, you mean
Is it built?
Yeah, while we're talking about a car from 1958, this movie also has a bully from 1958.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
Buddy character. What is he
Buddy.
doing in the 80s? What is he doing in the 80s?
It was set in the 78.
Oh, it's set in 78, right?
Yeah.
Which is weird that it's set in the same year as the movie Halloween and around the Halloween season. Like, that's
Yeah.
bizarre. But yeah, so it's 78.
Yeah,
why
I'm
is
like,
there
why-
a bully from the 50s at this
Why
school?
do they keep flashing dates on the screen? They're like
I think
November 15th. I'm like, I don't care. Why do I care?
They probably wanted to show
December
you
16th.
gradual
Why
descent.
do I care what day it is?
'Cause
Why
it-
do I like? It's like this happened in 1 month. It's like I don't care.
Yeah.
Could have happened in 6 months. I don't care.
It's the opposite of Carrie. You know how we were saying it escalated so fast? It was like one day
Yeah.
she's bleeding in the shower and the next day she's at the prom. Like this one at least established a time frame of like gradual time. So you know he didn't
But
change overnight.
why?
I don't
It
know. I
wasn't
guess because they didn't
necessary.
want to show you more of his
I
descent.
felt like I was watching Law and Order. Like it was like December 17th. Dun, dun.
Well, they do that in 7. You didn't complain about it.
Yeah, but 7, dude, 7's a
They didn't give you a
masterpiece.
date. They just said Wednesday.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you don't know which Wednesday though. Might have been back in the day,
Well,
which
it
was
was
a
7
Wednesday.
days, 7 cents. Right.
That made sense when they did it at 7. Yeah. So the bully, who did he remind me of?
Travolta.
Uncle Jesse. What's his name?
Yeah. No, you reminded me of Travolta from
John
Carrie.
Stamos.
Yeah, Travolta. Yeah, John Stamos. John Stamos was
John
only like
Stamos.
what?
He was probably
He wasn't
an
old
infant
enough.
when this movie came
Yeah.
out.
By the way,
But like, yeah.
John Stamos hitting on Jamie Lee Curtis on Twitter this week.
Nice.
That was
Oh,
a crossover I didn't know I needed.
IRL. That's cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, seems like a match made in heaven to me. I don't know.
How do you fix it? Do you fix it at all?
I'm not ready to fix it. I
Okay.
still want to complain about
Okay.
Did you catch the Friday the 13th overlap?
it. What's it in reference to?
Well, the actor, Stuart Charno, plays a character named Vandenberg. He's one of the bully's buddies. Tall, skinny dude. He is Ted from Friday the 13th Part 2,
Yes.
who survives because he stays at the bar
Stays at the bar.
and keeps drinking.
He's also the kid who carries around a lizard during Just One of the Guys.
Yeah. Remember he
Hmm.
tows the knockoff Kevin Bacon guy's car at the beginning
Yeah.
of the movie? Well, welcome to the country. Ho, ho, ho. That guy. He showed up in this for some reason.
He was all over the 80s, that kid.
Good work if you can get it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My favorite cameo, I forgot she was in this movie. And I realized this is probably when I started my crush on her,
Yeah.
was Kelly Preston.
She popped up and I went, oh, there's Kelly Preston. What's
Yeah.
she doing here?
And I thought to myself, there's no way that my ass is walking past Kelly Preston
Mm.
to go to the girl playing Lee. Although she's pretty too, but she's no Kelly Preston. She's like,
I preferred Lee, but
really?
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
You're
I'd,
not seeing the
I'd
right
have to
Kelly
get
Preston
I'd have
movies.
to get to know both of them,
Okay.
but I mean, superficially, just at a glance,
Okay. But it was a nice
Also,
little
it was
bonus.
established that she's smart.
Yes, she is smart.
So,
Although she's
I
pretty
mean,
dumb.
they
She got in
didn't
that car a few times.
they didn't establish that the other one wasn't, but I don't know. So, Dan, some guy got crushed, in a up against the steering wheel, and died.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was actually my favorite character.
it didn't
the
not remind me
mechanic guy.
of that scene in Vacation.
I haven't seen Vacation in a long time.
When they're driving down the highway
When
and
they had the crash.
Chevy's like, hey, you remember that time? And he kind of looks at his dick, and she's like, I'm not gonna. I don't remember what she says. Something more subtle than I'm not gonna blow you while the kids are in the car.
Right.
But then somehow he talks her into putting her head on his lap while he drives. But then he gets the steering wheel stuck, and it starts to crush her face. This is a dirty trick. And then the kids wake up and look like, oh God, and go back to bed. Oh man, Vacation, a way better movie than this movie. Continue.
I remember when they crashed and they were like, each character kind of had a line, and the kid's line was like because he was picking his nose at the time.
Yeah, I think I
I
stabbed
was
my
like,
brain.
I think I stabbed my brain.
Yeah, and
Russ-
then the daughter's
Russ-
like, I got my period. That's a good movie.
We gotta watch that movie, man.
The dog pissed all over the sandwiches.
When he's dancing and he opens the sandwich toward
And he's
Christy
kissing it.
Brinkley. What the fuck?
All right, next week we're watching Vacation.
Oh my God, we gotta just watch Vacation.
Fine with me.
We should watch Stripes.
We should watch Stripes. Then I can explain that meme I sent over this week.
Wait, let me grab my phone too.
Oh my God. So guys, Christine.
I did think you were going to hate this movie.
Okay, good.
I did think, but then I thought, well, he liked Carrie, but he did say it's a movie you should see.
I didn't like Carrie.
But but your
But I'm
assessment
glad I
was it's a
watched it.
classic. It's clearly an iconic movie
Yeah.
that you're supposed to have seen.
Yeah.
and
This is the same
definitely
kind of
the
movie.
cousin of
Yeah.
Carrie.
This is demonic Herbie.
Yeah, but it's
Evil
more Stephen
Herbie.
King. It's adapted by a good director. It's not quite Kubrickian, but it's.
I think they work well together.
What was Dan just
personally.
did that thing where you remember the pronunciation of the word in one of the
Yeah.
Friday movies? What was it?
Syllable?
No, it's
Yeah,
you're
like
not
that.
even gonna reprimand him.
You're not even going to reprimand him?
Reprimand them?
One of my buddies this week, Jake, if you're listening, used the word reprimand in a text, and I was like, oh, I got to read that in my head like the dorky policeman.
Reprimand them?
So weird. Reprimand.
So you
him?
didn't like Arnie at all? You didn't like his? You didn't think he was a good actor?
I related to him for about 30 seconds.
Did you catch
Wow.
his last name, Arnie?
Yeah, it was like they changed it to Cunningham, right?
That's the name of the kid in Halloween Ends. That's
Yeah,
why we
he's-
kept talking
What,
about
Arnie Cunningham?
So he's Corey Cunningham
it. Corey
in Halloween
Oh.
Ends,
Okay.
but they're not trying to hide the fact that it's an adaptation or some kind of
yeah,
like
it's
a reference to the storyline.
it's a hat. It's a hat tip.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's more than a hat tip. They stole the plot.
They borrowed
Yeah,
heavy
they
elements
borrowed-
of the plot
Yes.
and made
Yeah,
it
I think
better. I think.
they definitely did it better in Ends.
I stand by Halloween Ends. I really like that movie, and I know it's gonna take 10 years for a lot of people to come around to it. So in 2033, guys, if you've still downloaded this episode, if you even still have phones and computers and podcasts, have you come around to Halloween Ends on whatever future digital media you're watching it on? Thank you.
I don't know.
Mm.
Put the date in your Google Calendar and ask yourself that question when the
They're gonna be like, "What's Google?"
notification comes up.
You know, the funny thing about Christine, the movie, not the New Adventures of, the thing that I think is odd is it's a movie about a car, right? And I imagine, I don't know a lot about 50s cars, but how many gears on the gear shift? Are we talking a 4 or 5 gear shifter on that thing? Anybody here know
I don't know.
cars?
Did they have automatic
It seemed like an
transmissions by
automatic.
then?
In the
It looked
50s?
like an automatic.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm asking the question. I don't know.
So let's just, here's the thing about this movie then. I don't know shit about cars, so I'm not going to pretend to. The thing about this movie, I know about movies, I don't know about cars. The first half hour of this movie, I really like watching. It's a pleasant, smooth ride. The plot escalates to a certain point that it kind of promises a peak at like 5th gear. And then you hit some really cool stuff around 3rd gear. And then like nothing else exciting happens beyond that amount of excitement. Like it levels out. It plateaus to where like I expected more bombastic excitement in that final act. And it just kind of ends. You know? That's my real problem with the movie, is it like starts off strong, makes promises for how awesome it's going to get, but then it never exceeds the coolness of the car on fire, which happens an hour into the movie.
Well, I think that also has to do with the fact that they took things out from the book that gave you that. Like I know Arnie and his mother have a demise that's not in this movie. There's different things that happen in the book that are not in this movie, so maybe that's why it feels like it kind of plateaus and then nothing
sounds like
happens.
a great book and a shitty movie.
I'm not going to agree.
Because in order to defend the movie, you have to refer to the book. So obviously the movie's not that good.
I'm just saying I think the issues you guys are having probably would have been remedied with following the book closer. That's all.
Yeah, we need the 8-episode miniseries of this too.
Yeah.
Or the 6-hour TV movie version like they did with The Shining. Although I still like The Shining movie better.
Yeah. I don't know. I enjoy this movie. I'm not saying you have to, but I think it's a good Carpenter film.
Well,
It's a
here's
good
the thing.
I think he handles that subject matter of Stephen King really well.
A few
They're a
years
good
ago,
combo.
I went back and watched all of the Carpenter I had missed from like 85 through 2000. I filled in that gap. And let me tell you, no thank you to most of those movies.
Right. What, like Body Bags and Vampires and stuff?
Yeah, like Body Bags is probably the last one that I enjoyed, and it was bad, but like it wasn't as bad as the cover made me think it would be.
Yeah.
But like Escape from LA, like oh my god.
It's just a money grab.
Pam Grier is in that movie.
Bruce Campbell's in that movie.
So much is in that movie, and it's unwatchable garbage. Stacy Keach is in that movie.
Yes.
I love Stacy Keach. Movie sucks. Vampires? Blech.
Well, you're kind of biased. You don't like James Woods.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but like anything that Carpenter does after a certain point, it's just like, ooh. So then watching those movies and coming to Christine, you're like, oh, good, a good one. It's just, I don't feel like it. I feel like it fell short of the promise it made early in the film.
did you ever see Starman?
Okay. So yes, I have seen Starman.
Okay.
For George, who hasn't and probably will not watch it on this show, I
Yeah.
would summarize that movie as Karen Allen. Is it Karen Allen?
Yes.
Karen Allen fucks E.T., but he's handsome.
Oh.
It's Jeff Bridges.
Oh.
That's the
Yeah.
movie, as I
Scott.
remember it.
Yeah, but I mean,
Did we have that discussion about Jeff Bridges?
I'm sure we had many discussions about him. But what in particular, that movie?
No. Just like
Oh.
that Jeff Bridges does that. He like gets roles just so that he can.
Bang people?
Yeah.
I don't fault Jeff
Bang a
Bridges.
beautiful woman in every movie that he's in. Or am I thinking of somebody else?
I don't know.
Never
I
mind.
mean, it sounds like a Tom
Just-
Atkins discussion that we've had a couple
Yeah,
of times.
I don't know.
Yeah, we
Skip
did
it.
have a.
But yeah, Jeff Bridges, fine. Right? Karen Allen, great. The movie is E.T. But Karen Allen
Yeah,
bangs
like
the
picture if
alien.
Elliot and E.T. hook up
Mm.
while they're trying to get him home.
It was very weird. It was a weird choice.
There's good parts of that movie though, but that's an odd Carpenter film. That's one of those things that most people would stay away from because they're like, oh, this is a guy who made Halloween. Why is he making this kind of movie? But I like that movie too. I guess
Yeah, it's
because
not
I grew
terrible.
up in the 80s.
It's just weird.
It is definitely it's not weird for today. It's been done many times, but back then it was kind of not old hat.
And if you go into it expecting Halloween or The Fog, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else from that time that he made that I did like.
Prince of Darkness is pretty weird.
Yeah, it was okay. I don't know.
And I like Body Bags. It was dumb, but like it was fun. You know, it was fine. And then of course They Live. Holy shnikes. Like,
I love that. You might not love it, but I love it.
Oh, I think the George is really gonna like that one.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's a romp.
I just thought of how I would improve this movie. Are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
I don't think you're ready for this. I would reframe the entire movie around Christine, who is, instead of a 1958 Plymouth Fury,
Mm-hmm.
Christine is instead a 1979 family truckster.
Okay.
And instead of killing people, she would trap beautiful women into uncomfortable exchanges with Chevy Chase.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
she would
That
kill
sounds
dogs
like that
and
sounds
old
like a
women.
winner.
She would murder old women in their sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds
She
like
would
an old
kill dogs by dragging them generally.
Dog murderer.
And she would attack
That's-
the wife of, what's his name in the movies? Clark. She would attack Clark's wife anytime she tried to get too close, because the family truckster Christine wanted to have a three-way with Clark and any beautiful woman driving down the highway, who then she would kill like a praying mantis.
Yes. And then somehow figure out to get John Candy in there as well.
Well, the moose outside should have told you.
Guys, I saw a meme.
Sorry, folks.
When you said praying mantis, it made me think of it. And it was just
Episode
a
of
praying.
Community?
No, it was a
No.
praying. There was a meme. The praying mantis had no head, and it was dead. And the meme just said, "Wow, looks like somebody got laid last night." Dude, I'm telling you, a podcast where I just describe memes would work. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that was good.
Or a podcast where we just talk about anything and I just talk about whatever meme comes up. It would work. Telling you.
Oh, shit. That was
Holy
funny.
moly.
All right, so that's how Dan fixes this. How do you fix it?
I change the villain from a car to a tall, slender man in a jumpsuit and a mask.
Ooh.
Okay. That has already been done.
Well, that's what I would do.
Okay.
If this was 1995 and he proposed that, it would actually be a new and exciting direction for a franchise.
Yes, right.
But he's about a year too late. Been
They
there, done
filmed
that.
this movie in the same neighborhood they filmed Halloween as well.
I kind of almost noticed that.
Yeah.
I was like, it did have a Halloween kind of look to it.
And fun fact, Dan, I don't know if you
The
knew
same
this.
25 leaves.
No.
Oh.
They started production on this movie before the book even came out. That's how established Stephen King was back then.
Well, see, and that
and
is
how established John Carpenter
that
was.
is something I wanted to cover. That's another reason I wanted to cover this movie, because you've come full circle with Stephen King, from Carrie being his first book that gets made into a movie. The Shining is a book which is a huge success, which gets turned into one of the biggest movies of all time. And then by 83, just 3 years later, we're now pre-licensing his books even before they're done into movies. Like that's an ascent.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good ascent. That's how you become Stephen King.
Yeah. And I would say that every one of the movies made based on his books are worth the watch. Whether you like them or not, they're still worth the watch.
Did he write Maximum Overdrive as a book, or did he just make it in a movie?
Oh, God. I knew you were going to bring that one up. Yeah, I don't know if that's watchable.
Great soundtrack. Great soundtrack.
Yeah. And it's got Emilio Estevez. So.
And it has a lot in common with Scarface. Mostly the coke.
I'm speaking more about like Cujo, Salem's Lot, which was a TV movie. It. He had a pretty good run. Pet Sematary.
And the ones that are TV movies generally are as good or sometimes better than the Hollywood movies because they end up being 4 hours long.
Prime example, he wrote a book called Storm of the Century, and they made a miniseries out of that. The Stand is another one, like a lot of his bigger books. And
The Langoliers.
All right, that one. And
I
Tommy
like
Knockers.
The Langoliers.
But yeah, I mean, he's a good author, and he really makes good stories for movies. It's just a matter of if the people making them give him the.
I think that a Stephen King novel is a really difficult thing to execute in film.
Yes, but when done well.
Oh, when done well, you get The Shining.
Yeah, you get The Shining. Although Stephen King hates The Shining.
Well,
because it's not his book.
Yeah. But yeah. And in this conversation, I realized that I know a lot more Stephen King than I thought I did.
I really
you just
like Pet
went down a list of movies and books. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that was Stephen King. Like It.
Yeah.
I've never seen It, but I know It. I know of it.
Right.
I did not know it was Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier in the episode, it was The Thing. I totally forgot that was Stephen King.
The Thing was not
No.
Stephen King. The Thing
John
was
John
Carpenter.
Carpenter.
Right.
No, never mind. Fuck
Halloween, also not Stephen King.
it.
That we know of.
Halloween wasn't Stephen King?
Could have been a short story. And you loved Stand By Me. So, I mean, it's
and
kinda,
also, again, Stand By Me. I did not know that was a Stephen King novel.
Was that a novel or was that a short story?
It's like a short story within a collection of 4 called Seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
Whatever.
talked about that at the time, but you forgot.
Yeah, we did.
He's golden.
Yeah.
Like, I think you would enjoy Pet Sematary, but you might not. I think we should probably
You
watch
talk
that.
about it all the time, so I think I probably should.
It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. And the little kid in that movie looked just like you did when you were 4.
I'd probably like it.
Oh, wow, that picture of the kid does look like a little George. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
When
Denise
I started-
Crosby's in that.
When I started dating Jen and I saw George for the first time, I was like, holy shit, your brother's Gage. She's like, what? I'm like, the little kid from Pet Sematary. She's like, I never saw it. I'm like, yeah.
Directed by Mary Lambert, also known for doing the Madonna video for Like a Prayer.
Oh. And that's it? That's all
I
she's
mean, a
known
bunch
for?
of music videos.
Okay.
But Like a Prayer is substantial. Ooh, she did an episode of Red Shoe Diaries in 1992
Ooh.
as she credited herself as Alan Smithy.
Okay.
So I imagine that's a very well-directed episode of one of my favorite shows from when I was too young to be watching that show.
What, Red Shoe?
Red Shoes.
You should not have been watching that.
I mean, I was like 13.
Okay, that's fine.
It was great. 3 thumbs up.
Wow.
Well, sorry for the horror film fans out there that believe this movie is iconic. You might want to move on to the next episode.
What are we watching in the next episode?
I thought you were a fan of it, Dan.
That's
I'm
fine.
shocked.
It's fine. It's
fine.
I don't mind watching it with my eyeballs. It is fine. It's a little
pretty
boring
color.
toward the end, which is weird to say because a lot happens. But like,
Yeah. And it's the same ending for Halloween Ends, which you liked. So it's just weird.
well, Halloween Ends, it's a little different because they fight in a kitchen and it's really cool. And I
Mhm.
care more about the characters. I don't know. For some reason, Arnie just, at some point, I just don't care anymore. He's too shitty.
He's definitely shitty. So what are we watching next week?
What are we watching next week?
Thought we were watching Vacation.
It's either Vacation or Stripes.
So yeah, why don't we do Vacation and then follow it
Okay.
the following week with Stripes?
Oh, that's a twofer.
I'm
That's
down.
a twofer.
Yeah.
Vacation's going to be so much fun.
It is my happy place. I watched it recently, and I will watch it again because it is my happy place.
Yeah, usually people are like, oh, Christmas Vacation. I'm like, I love Christmas. I love it. But it's still not better than Vacation.
No, hell no. Or maybe it
No.
is. We'll have to wait and see. Save it for the
This is true.
pod.
Save it for the pod. Russ?
I've seen Vacation or Christmas Vacation a few times. I think I've only seen Vacation once, and it was like on TV.
Oh boy.
God.
Oh
so
boy.
I think I'm in for a treat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep,
Yep,
yep.
yep, yep, yep,
Boring. Yep, 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 yep.
Wow. How old were you?
I don't know.
Yeah, I used to have that taped off TV when I was a kid that I'd watch, pretty frequently. And then
Right.
recently I wanted to show some of it to my kids. And I did wish that I still had that videotape somewhere because that movie involves
Yeah,
a lot
right.
of fast forwarding, as you will find out. Don't watch it with your kid.
No, I certainly won't.
Hey, thank you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us at facebook.com/remedialfilmpod. We'll be back next week with the classic National Lampoon's Vacation. Who's the moosiest moose that you know? Find out next week.